What I'm saying is I want you to get started. Practice excellent. Think bigger. Reach further. Dig deeper. And live from there. Live from that. Live Life Mogul. Hey, it's Lene Javette, and this is the Live Life Mogul podcast with Lene Javette. Thank you so much for tuning in. We had a couple of technical difficulties, but we got them worked out, and now we are live. Again, for those of you that are just tuning in or just finding out about the Live Life Mogul podcast, I am Lene Javette, and I record this podcast every Thursday at 12 o'clock p.m. West Coast time. 3 o'clock p.m. if you're on the East Coast. I do this on my Facebook page at I am Lene Javette. You can also catch the replay recordings of the podcast on your favorite podcast platform, such as iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeart Radio. We're in the Alexa podcast as well as Spotify. So you can hear us, listen to us at your leisure whenever you would like. However, if you would like to participate in the live recording of the podcast where you can ask questions and engage and really become a part of the Live Life Mogul podcast family, you can check me out live on Facebook, okay? Today we're going to be talking about stepping out of stuck. What happens when you get stuck and you want to step out of it and be productive in your life or be in your business or your career. Today I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of business, but it can also be applied to career and life. But I recently did a survey, and there were a couple of people that were talking about they were stuck. They don't know what steps to take. They weren't clear on their purpose or their passion. They were stuck in their business. And so I really want to talk about how to step out of stuck. For some of you, it might not be stepping out. For some of you, you might need to run out of stuck. For some of you, you might need to pray out of stuck. But we're going to talk about how do you move out of a stuck position so that you can truly, operate at your fullest potential, meet your goals, be successful, get out of your head, and do what it is that you want to do in your life. Now, before I get to the topic, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, which this week is me. So this week, our sponsor is the Mogul Institute, which is, of course, my online business platform for entrepreneurs and business owners in years 1 through 5 who want to level up in their business, who want to get clear, who want to get unstuck, and who want to know how to operate their business like a mogul. Right? Just because you're getting started in business doesn't mean you have to look like a startup or operate like a startup. You can actually operate like somebody who's been in business for a while. And I do have a platform that allows you to do that called the Mogul Institute. All right, enough shameless plugging with the sponsor. Let's get to the topic. So we all get stuck in our lives, in our careers, in our business, in our health, in our finances, even in our relationships. But how do we get unstuck? That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to start with myself because I have recently been in a place where I've been stuck in my business. I started out my business in 2014 and it did amazing. My first business was Coolsire.com, and we launched on March 14th, 2014. Let me back up a little bit. Coolsire started long before we launched. I still had a corporate position. I was working at my job. I was going to school. I left my day position July 12th, 2013. I left my job July 12th, 2013. And when I left my job, I had $50,000 cash. I had liquidated my 401k, and I started working for myself. And I launched Coolsire on March 14th, 2014. I did it with a $10,000 crowdfunding campaign. I was 3 websites in. I had lost over $10,000. But Coolsire, when it hit the ground, it just blew up. In less than 7 months, we had over 3 million page views from over 1 million visitors. We were in 217 countries and territories. I had raised $10,000 in crowdfunding. I was speaking. I was traveling. Like, business just was like pop. And it was a beautiful thing. What I did was, at the height of Coolsire's success, I moved to Atlanta. And so I call it my bid. I did a 2-year bid in Atlanta, and business was good. I got the attention of Dr. Boyce Watkins. I was able to work on his platform with him and work in his business with him for many years, host events, the All Black National Convention. Like literally business was really good. It was almost like business was coming to me. I wasn't even really having to work for it. Just the law of attraction was bringing business to me, and I was on a high. Business was good. And it's very easy to be excited about your business when business is good. It's very easy to see growth when business is good, right? And so for me, that's what was happening. Business was doing good. I was growing. My business was growing. I'm speaking. I'm getting advertisements. I'm doing the Black Business Catalog. Just everything is working out for my good. And then I decided to move back to Arizona. Now, for me, this is where I kind of got stuck. And we're going to talk about ways that people get stuck. Sometimes people get stuck in their head. Sometimes they get stuck physically. Sometimes they get stuck in their marketing. Sometimes they get stuck in the results that they're seeing. There's a variety of different ways that you can get stuck. But I'm going to give you my story, and then we're going to kind of talk more about ways that you can get stuck and how to get unstuck, okay? So what happened is I moved home 2 years ago. And when I moved home, I was still, doing pretty good. I moved home in June, had my first 3-day event in September. After that, I did 2 speaking events. I did another event that January. And then I had a hysterectomy in April. And mentally, my mind just started to slow down. My business started to slow down. My lives started to slow down. My excitement about my business started to slow down. And even during this period of being slow, I wrote a book. So I'm the stuck process, if you will, like the mud is starting to get thick and I can feel myself slowing down, but I'm still like trying to fight and I'm still trying to produce. And so I was able to write my first book. And literally after my book was written, I don't know what happened, but I felt like I got stuck. I didn't know what to do next. I had started 2 businesses. I had moved across the country. I had put on a 3-day event. I had wrote a book and I got stuck. Okay. And I tell you all that to say, even people who have quote unquote some level of success, that have quote unquote met some of the goals and obligations and objectives in their lives, get stuck. All right. How does this happen? Well, for me, I don't know if you guys have heard of or are familiar with the term imposter syndrome. But for me, I kind of had this whole imposter syndrome going on, and a lot of people have it and they don't even know that they have it. Imposter syndrome is where you may feel like the things that you have done with your life, the things that you have done with your business, the things that you have done to some level of success, while the world is celebrating you for these things, you may feel like they're not well deserved. You may feel like you didn't earn them, or you may feel like you didn't deserve them. Okay. And the reason why you may feel that way is because you're looking at somebody else who's further than you, who has more money than you, who might be more successful than you, who may appear as if they have it all together. Because we live in this social media world where it seems like everybody is doing better than the other person. And a lot of times if you will look at what somebody else has compared to what you have, it may make you feel uneasy or some kind of a way. That is what causes us to get stuck, right? We're looking at our lives, what we're doing with our life or what we're not doing with our life, where we thought we would be right now in our life, where we want to be right now in our life, and not really having a good, clear picture idea of how to get to where we want to be. And that is what often causes people to get stuck. I know that I'm not happy where I'm at. I know I want something different, but I don't necessarily know what it is or how to go about getting it. Or I know exactly what it is. I know I want to write a book. I know I want my business to do better. I know I'm struggling in my marketing. I know I'm not getting this promotion because I'm not coming to work on time. We know exactly what it is, but not how to fix it. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about today. How do we step out of stuck? How do you fix the area that you might be struggling in? I'm going to talk about it again from the business perspective because that is the area where I was most recently stuck. So if you have a business or you want to start a business and you feel like you're stuck, what can you do? The first thing that I think that you can do is be honest about where you are. Be honest about where you are. For me, I had to get honest with moving back home mentally shook me from a mental standpoint. Mentally, it felt like I took a step back. And so for the last year, I've been fighting with, how do I go back to that level of success? How do I get back to when I was on top? How do I get back? And I kept looking backwards instead of looking forward and saying, this is where I am. Where do I want to be? This is where I am. What comes next? This is where I am. How do I fix this next step that I'm going to take? How do I make sure that this next step that I take is going to be right? And not look back to, how can I get back to where I used to be, when really nobody wants to go back to who they used to be. You want to get to where you're going. You want to get to your next best thing, right? That's the whole purpose in life, as I see it anyways, is to be doing better, to be elevating, to be accelerating and doing bigger and better things than you were doing previously, right? So when you're talking about getting unstuck, some of that is really in, where am I at right now? Number one. Number two, where do I want to be? And being honest about where you want to be. A lot of times, sometimes people will get stuck in their business. They don't know they're stuck in their business. And because they don't know that they're stuck in their business, they can't even figure out where it is that they want to be or how to get there. You know if your marketing is tacky. You know if you're not reaching, or maybe you don't know that your marketing is tacky. Maybe you don't know who your target audience is or who your target market is and how you're supposed to speak to them. Maybe you don't know where they're at. Maybe you don't know how to speak to them. There are a variety of reasons why people get stuck, but the first rule of becoming unstuck is, where are you? Where do you want to be? And then what is keeping you from, what is the distance, what is the difference in that space? What is keeping you from getting from point A to point B? And that's where you really identify, is it your marketing? Is it your communication? Is it your target audience? Is it that you aren't putting money into your marketing? If it's your career, is it that you don't have the skill set? Is it that you're not at the right company? Is it that you don't know the right people? Is it that you're not networking with the right people? If it's your health and fitness, is it that you don't have the right routine? Is it that you don't have the right regimen? Is it that you're not eating the right food? Is it that you haven't found the right program that works with your body? Is it that you haven't found the right thing that you're motivated by? If it's your relationship, are you with the wrong damn person? If you're stuck and you can't find the right person, if you're not getting married, there are all these different reasons for us being stuck. And a lot of times we'll sit in being stuck instead of stepping out of stuck in order to find what has us bound, what has us stuck. Why are you stuck? The true way to step out of being stuck is figuring out why you're there. What got you there? What is the lesson you're supposed to learn where you're at? Where can you garner strength? What can this place teach you? When I stepped out of my season of quote unquote being stuck, what I learned from that, and if I have to be really honest with you, I would tell you I'm stepping out of it. Like we ain't all the way there. I'm stepping out of it. And what's being learned is you have everything that you need to have everything that you need. Meaning you have the mindset to figure out what it is that you need to take you to the next step. You have the mindset to figure out what you want in your career, to figure out what the steps are necessary, what necessary steps are needed to get you to the next level in your career. Meaning you have everything physically in your body, in your mindset, to get you to everything that you need to actually lose the weight. We over-process and over-sensationalize our seasons of being stuck, and then we make them overly complicated to step out of. If you're stuck, in your business and you're not making the money that you want to make, and you're not seeing the results that you want to see, and you're not connecting with your audience, and you're not excited about your business because it's not doing well, then you have to figure out, what is it that you want for your business? What does well look like for your business? How do you provide a solution for that? And where do you go to get that solution? Because again, you have everything that you need to have everything that you need. That is literally what I learned in my stuck season. Things weren't looking pretty. They weren't coming together right. I didn't feel like I was having the influence that I wanted to have. I didn't feel like I was making the impact that I wanted to make. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't anybody else's fault. I wasn't seeing those things that I wanted and making those impact because I was mentally stuck. It didn't even have it at that point in time. It didn't have anything to do with my marketing. It didn't have anything to do with my messaging. It had to do with my mindset. I talked myself and let myself become stuck. And so when it was time to step out of stuck, I had to utilize my own skills and mindset to become unstuck. So I would challenge you, depending on wherever you're stuck at, if you're stuck in your finances, if you're stuck in your marriage, if you're stuck in your relationships, if you're stuck in your fitness, if you're stuck in your business, how did you get there? What step didn't you take? How can you get out of it? Where do you want to go? How are you going to get there? Clarity, steps, focus, and being intentional. That's really how you step out of being stuck. Being intentional. I intentionally do not want to be stuck. I intentionally do not want to be unhappy. I intentionally want to be better in my business. I intentionally want to be better as a wife. I intentionally want to be better in my fitness. And do it with intention. We get stuck when we let things happen to us as if we're a victim. We get stuck when we let things happen to us as if we don't have power. We get stuck when we let things happen to us as if we cannot go out and find the information. We can read, we can ask questions, we can get mentors, we can look online. Literally, the world is open to us. The world is open to you. There's no reason that you have to be stuck. What do you want? What do you want in life? What do you want from your business? Once you know what that is, create a plan to go after it. And with each step that you take, you will pull yourself further and further free from being stuck and closer to what it is that you truly want for your life, that you truly want to manifest. Vincent says, just came on at the right time. I'm freaking stuck. What are you stuck at, Vincent? David Miller says, my largest problem. I had the pleasure of working with you online. Oh, thank you so much. One of the things I do with my clients or people that come to work with me, one of the first things I ask them is, what do you want? And the first thing out of most people's life is, well, I don't want. Where people are really good at telling you what they don't want. But it's very difficult to get somebody to actually tell you what they do want. And sometimes when they tell you what they do want, they give you the small version instead of the sold out the box, bigger than life version. I can tell you my bigger than life version of what I really want. I want a piece of real estate where I can open up a hotel. I can see myself owning a Marriott or a Hilton. I can see that's one of my big dreams. That's one of my big goals. I can see myself with a restaurant. I can see myself with some collab with a co-working space. I can see myself touching 1 million Black people. Like, those are my big goals, and I can communicate that to you. Sometimes I get stuck in the steps that I need to achieve those. But because I know where I'm going, but because I know what my goals are, even when I get stuck, all it takes is one step to get me back on track because I know where I'm going. If you have no direction and you have no purpose and you have no passion and you have no idea where you're going, that could be why you're stuck. But if you can at least identify a goal, a passion, a place, a direction, it becomes very easy to step out of being stuck into or towards what it is that you want to do, towards what you want to achieve. Lorna says, I want to go to Africa, the motherland. Girl, I say do it. Let me know when you go, because I would love to go to the motherland. That is actually one of the things that is on my bucket list. Roderick says, hello, it's been a while since I've been able to see you live. Trusting that you have been well. I have been well, Roderick. Thank you so much. David Miller says, to create an investment group that introduces young Black men and women to solutions that could fix our housing problems. I love that. When you have an actual idea of your purpose, of your passion, of what you want to accomplish, it frees up your mental space. It frees up your mental capacity to be able to step out of stuck. But unfortunately, a lot of us don't know what we want, or we think we don't deserve it, or we think it's too big for us, or we don't know if we have the skill set or the connections or, our past. I used to stumble over my past. Some of you guys already know this, some of you don't, but I used to be a stripper. I used to be a dancer. I used to take my clothes off. And that has played into my imposter syndrome. That has made it very difficult for me to step out of stuck, because in my mind, I used to have this thought like, nobody's going to take me seriously. I don't deserve this opportunity. I shouldn't. How am I going to speak? I used to really tell myself that. And I will tell people I held myself bound. I was my own worst enemy, like most people are, because we are our own worst enemy, because we know us better than anybody else. We know our faults, we know our wrongs, we know what we've done that's shady, and so we will hold ourselves stuck. We'll hold ourselves stuck because we don't want anybody else to know. We'll hold ourselves stuck because we don't think anybody's going to believe in our dreams or follow us down the rabbit hole. We hold ourselves stuck because we're Black. We don't think white folks are going to appreciate who we are, what we have. I mean, there's so many reasons why we hold ourselves stuck, when in reality, who we are, our testimony, our journey, are the things that make us insecure, the things that make us who we are. Those are actually the things that are your strengths and that are going to push you forward and that are going to make you great. Those are actually the things that make me great. Running from my past is what allows me to sit here and do what I do. It's what allows me to speak from a positive standpoint. It's what gives me my strength. It's what gives me my voice. And for so long, I was letting myself become a victim instead of a victor based on my own story, my own testimony. And every person should use their testimony, should use their humbleness, should use their confidence, should use their self-esteem, should use their story to push them to the next place, to get them to where they need to be, and not let it hold you stuck. Because you deserve the best. You are the best. You come from the best. We are the first people. We are Black people. And as Black people, we need to elevate. We need to practice Black excellence in everything, every day, in our relationships, in our life, in how we speak to each other, in how we network, in our relationships with our wife, in our relationship with our kids, in our business, as authors, as employees. Every place we go, we should be radiating Black excellence. You should not be stuck. You have a beautiful mind. You have a beautiful past. You have a beautiful history. You are powerful beyond what you even can comprehend. Do not let the ways of the world, the results that you're seeing, the actions that you're taking or not taking, the results that someone else has, do not let those things keep you bound or keep you stuck. I'm going to leave you guys with this. I've been in business for 6 years, and I'm a Virgo, and I'm a perfectionist, which means that I think my shit should be A++. Like, that's just how I operate. And sometimes it causes me to get stuck, because if I'm not delivering something that's A++ or top tier or top notch, it will turn me off. I'll get stuck if something's not at the top. And I'm reminded that Apple throws they stuff out any old kind of way and lets you figure out what's wrong with it. We get stuck trying to make things perfect. Major corporations, they're not tripping on perfect. They just throwing their stuff out there and be like, oh, we'll fix that later. That's one thing. The second thing is, I follow this girl, this lady, this woman. I would say she's probably a virtual mentor. That's not true. She's my mentor because I pay for her services. So she's my mentor. And it feels like I'm always like trying to, like, she's right here and I'm always like trying to catch up to her, right? I'm always trying to get close to her. And the other day she posted something and she was like 11 years in business at XYZ. And it was like a light bulb that went off in my head that was like, you're only 6 years into business. She's 11 years into business. You cannot measure your 6 years to her 11 years. You can't measure your 6 years to her 11 years. And too often we as people, we get stuck trying to measure our progress, what we do, how we do it, where we're supposed to go, how far we are. We measure all of that compared to somebody else who's been in the game twice as long as us, who has twice as much experience as us, has twice as much information than us. And then we'll hold ourselves bound to, I'm not doing as good, I'm not as far, I can't, you know what I'm saying? We'll unfortunately use some negative self-talk to measure our progress that somebody else has been doing this way longer than us. And you have to stop doing that. If you want to get unstuck, stop looking at somebody else's race. If you want to get unstuck, focus on what you do, how you do it, because nobody does it like you. Nobody's on your timeline like you. Nobody's supposed to be going to the places that you're supposed to be going. No, God didn't give that destiny, that vision, that mission to nobody else but you. And it will be birthed in your time, which is in His time, and therefore there's no reason to be stuck. David says, that's how I feel next to Dr. Watkins over Lawrence. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And it was like an aha moment for me where I was like, oh my God, she's been in this for 11 years. I've been in this for 6. She's further than me by all rights and as it should be. But I'm close. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at somebody who's this far in the game. They mentor me and I'm catching up. Oh, that's how it's supposed to be. That's how you get unstuck. You ask for help. You get assistance, you get a coach, you get a mentor, you research, you read, you seek knowledge, you pray, you keep moving, you take steps. That is how you step out of stuck. You don't stop. You don't succumb. You don't give in. You don't talk down. You think positively. You beat on your chest. You cry. You move forward. You take the steps that are necessary to get you to where you want to be, to get you closer to who you want to be, to get you the results that you want to have. That's all I got for you today. Stepping out of stuck. I'm doing it too. I'm not above stepping out of stuck. Even after you step out, the first time you may have to step out again and again and again. This is called life. And life is a marathon. Shameless plug. Life is a marathon. If you try to sprint through life, you're going to get tired. It's a marathon. Take your time. You might get stuck. As long as you don't stop and you don't drown and you keep stepping, you keep moving forward until the next time you get stuck. If you're doing it right, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get free. You're going to get stuck. You're going to get free. You're going to get stuck. You're going to get free. That's if you're doing it right, because that means you're going to different elevations. That means you're moving. That means you're making progress. If you get stuck and you just crumble up and die, that's when you get stagnant. That's when you start living a mediocre life. That's when you start becoming a victim. That's when things stop working out for you. Getting stuck just means you're making moves. Getting stuck just means that you're doing something right. It only becomes a bad thing or a failure or a fall if you play dead and you stay there. But with every stuck I have found so far in my life, every time I get stuck, when I get out, the freedom and the power that's on the other side will blow your mind. It's exhilarating. It's empowering. Every unstuck is a new level because you learn your power, you learn what you're made of, and it makes you more ferocious and determined. And it gets you closer to who you are, to who you want to be, to who you want to become, to leaving a legacy for other people in your family to follow. Okay? So that's all I have for today on the Live Life Mogul podcast. It was a little bit off my notes. Actually, I didn't even use my notes at all. I completely took this conversation in a completely different direction that I was not prepared for. So I do apologize if it's a little bit random and a little bit all over the place. It was really a passion conversation from my heart today. I believe our next week's conversation is going to be with Lauren Varlock of Brand Your Flavor. So we'll be talking about branding next week. This week's conversation, like I said, it was a little bit impromptu because I did a survey where I sent out some questions asking people where are they at, what do they want to do with their life, where are they going, how can I help? And it was amazing to me how many people were like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm stuck. I'm frustrated. And I was like, whoa, there's a lot of people out there, because a lot of times we feel like it's just us, like you're the only person who's dealing with it and you're not. I was like, there's a lot of people out there that want to do something great with their life. They want to do big things. They have great ideas, big plans, but they don't know what to do or how to do them. And because of that, they feel stuck. And what I would challenge people to focus on is what it is that you want to accomplish, what it is that you want to do. And then, like Vincent said, take those baby steps to help you get there. Don't let yourself drown in not knowing exactly what it is that you want to do. Get with somebody like myself or somebody else who can help you get clear on what it is that you want to do, help you create a strategy or a plan to excel and meet those goals. All right. So this is the Live Life Mogul podcast. We do this every Thursday at 12 o'clock noon on my Facebook page. If you'd like to watch this recording live, be a part of the conversation, leave your comments. If not, you can always listen to the replay on your favorite social media lives, on your favorite podcast platform. There you go. On your favorite podcast platform. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeart Radio, Spotify, Podbean. We're all over the place. So if you like to listen to this in the comfort of your own car as you are driving to work or in these streets, please feel free to catch us on that. Also, just want to give a reminder that our sponsor this week is the Mogul Institute. If you need help with your business, if you're in years 1 through 5 and you're struggling with your marketing or your branding or your target audience or your sales copy, maybe you want to create passive income or launch a new product, or you have a webinar or workshop that you want to produce, please check out the Mogul Institute. We have a multitude of different courses and programs and programs that you can check out that will help you to do better in your business. And I am Lenny Javette, your hostess with the mostest, also known as the Mogulist. This is the Live Life Mogul podcast, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.